Watch Dogs is one of those franchises that's always been brimming with conceptual potential, but it's never really strove to achieve it. It's developed by Ubisoft, who are perfectly capable of making great games, except a lot of the time they just choose not to. I don't understand why Ubisoft is like this, but they are. We're 2 entries down and Watch Dogs still hasn't found its footing, and so I thought I'd make a short video on how I think that Watch Dogs can get on track. Of course, this video will be heavily based on my opinion, so if that stuff bothers you, this won't be the video for you. Forewarning, I do have some heavy opinions on Watch Dogs, especially Watch Dogs 2, so I've warned you now. You're still going to get mad in the comments, but I've warned you. Now, out of Watch Dogs and Watch Dogs 2, I do prefer the first game. Watch Dogs was a dark, gritty game about a man out to avenge the death of his niece. He happens to be a skilled hacker as is, and is familiar with the criminal underworld. There's a dark, gritty story there, something you can actually take seriously, though it is lacking in a lot of ways. Watch Dogs 2, on the other hand, is set in some social justice heaven, and from a narrative perspective, it doesn't take itself particularly seriously. I'm not jabbing at it being lighthearted, I'm jabbing at the fact that it just feels like mindless fun. The characters were completely uncompelling to me, and the game felt more like a political statement than an actual game. Gameplay, however, did make some improvements, including more things to hack, which is always great, and featured more in-depth outfit customization, which is another good thing. So in Watch Dogs, you've got the concept of an epic action thriller game, and then you've got Watch Dogs 2 with a story that is basically Barney and friends discover cyber terrorism. However, neither game realises Watch Dogs' full potential. This game definitely could be so much more. And though it's a shame that the first 2 installments didn't quite realise what Watch Dogs could be, Watch Dogs 3, which I have no doubt will happen at some point, could very well change this. Now, the first thing that pops into my head when I see the vast difference between the tone in Watch Dogs and Watch Dogs 2 is that Ubisoft aren't sure what they want Watch Dogs to be. Do they want it to be this gritty action thriller game, or do they want it to be a more tame, upbeat, less gritty sort of experience? And if Ubisoft can't establish what Watch Dogs is before committing to the project, then the game's gonna feel like it's missing something. Direction. And to say that Watch Dogs lacks direction is such a massive understatement that it would probably get you into the Guinness Book of World Records. So before Watch Dogs 3, Ubisoft need to figure out what they want Watch Dogs to be, starting with the tone. Obviously, they've got a lot of the base details sorted out. It's a game about hacking, that's what Watch Dogs is, that's what it's marketed as, great. But what do you want the story to be? Where do you want it to go? You need this direction in a game like this, or this franchise might find itself being pointless churned out entry after pointless churned out entry, which Ubisoft has done way too much. And considering how as a business model that works for Ubisoft, I can imagine that no matter what happens, if Watch Dogs as a franchise saw some liftoff, it would happen anyway. But in order to get to that point, you actually have to make the game good, otherwise it probably won't sell. And like I said, Ubisoft know how to do this. A lot of the time they just don't. So as opposed to pushing for a premature release date in which the game isn't at its full potential, maybe work on it for as much time as possible to make it the best it can be. Make sure nothing's good enough, but the best that they can make it. The higher ups at Ubisoft should really be giving the developers the time that they need to make these games great, because I have no doubt that the developers working on these games have passion for them, and definitely would put their all into it if they were allowed to do so. Back on the point of direction, I can't suggest a specific direction for Watch Dogs, that is for Ubisoft to decide, of course. However, if I were to mention which game I prefer, it would be the tone of the first game. Obviously, it need a bit of touching up, and the story would need a bit of improvement. It's not great, but it's not bad if you get me. Add some more hacking elements, improve the driving, which is abysmal in both games, create a compelling, diverse cast of characters. I'm not on about political diversity, I'm on about diversity and each character is different and unique, and optimize the game so it actually runs well on PC. As face it, Watch Dogs 1 and Watch Dogs 2 both ran like shit. An easily avoidable problem, and I think Ubisoft have got that one nailed down now, because I haven't had any problems with recent Ubisoft games and their performance. As far as side content goes in Watch Dogs 1 and 2, I'd say that there are improvements there that could be made, such as making more compelling side missions and things, which are more engaging, compelling, diverse and all of that wonderful stuff, alongside all of the dumbed down simple stuff that is from A to B essentially. It doesn't feel like lazy content necessarily, it can be there, it just shouldn't be a substitute for actual side content that will engage you. I'm not too fussed about the online content, that's the last thing that I think about when I think about getting Watch Dogs on track. It's not really in the way of that, and it's a fun thing to have. But in order to get on track, Watch Dogs needs direction, that is the main thing. Above everything else, this is the point that I can't stress enough. And if the next Watch Dogs installment finds this, I'm sure it will be a great game. As like I said, the concept of Watch Dogs is something that I'm sure could be incredible. That being said, we don't know if anything is actually coming next for Watch Dogs officially. There have been rumours that a third Watch Dogs game is in development, but rumours are to be taken with a pinch of salt. But as one final request, if Watch Dogs 3 is a thing, please don't be a social justice heaven. Oh shit, there's another thing that I need to request. Never do this ever again.
We're gonna hit him where it gigahertz.
But anyways, be sure to let me know what you think down in the comment section. How do you think Watch Dogs can get on track? Also, as a fun little thing, where do you want Watch Dogs 3 to be set? Personally, I'd go for anywhere with a high building that I can throw myself off on the off chance that the game's shit. So thank you all for watching, I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, share the channel with your friends and all that wonderful stuff, and I'll see you all very soon with another video at some point.